Well, welcome to SKST Radio. You're tuned into Real Talk with Cammie Grayson and friends. I'm Cammie Grayson, and this is my co-host,
Romei Foster.
And guess who our special guest is? Mr. DC Glen from the cool band, what do you call it? Duo tag team. There it is. Hey, Mr. Glen, welcome. Welcome.
How you doing today? I'm doing well. Tired, but it's all good. The hustle never stops.
Oh, wow. Wow. So
good.
I'm so excited to hear about all the cool things that you've been doing and just kind of want to give the audience an idea of what's been going on. You know, you have this tagline that you're the brain. What does the brain actually do?
Well, long time ago, when I was a young man, a friend of ours, his name was Roy Lee Davis. He used to just, I think we was just chilling out one time, and I was just figuring stuff out, right? And he was like, "Man, we gonna call you the brain. You always figuring stuff out. Brain supreme."
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. It was that simple, right? And it just stuck, right? And that became my rap name, DC the Brain Supreme. So, you know, the connotation comes from me just thinking differently, thinking outside the box, learning how to learn, and just trying to be a better man than I was yesterday, you know? So it's really simple. I just strive to be good and to be righteous and just to be the best that I could be. Usually when that happens, things turn out well.
That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you been doing? So during your times of not actually doing concerts and things, I know you guys started something in 2019. Did that tour finish, or did you guys have to stop because of COVID?
We're not touring. We're doing halftime shows for the NBA, halftime shows for NFL. You know, that kind of goes back to my hustle. I wasn't you know, you have to, if you're an aging group, right, or a mature group, and you know, booking agents aren't looking on you favorably, right? So you're going to get shows, but you're not going to get the shows that you could get if you had a bunch of booking agents looking at you, right? So when we first really started trying to hit the pavement again to do shows, like in 2013, I joined this organization called International Buyers Association. And that goes back to the Brain Supreme. If I hit a wall, you know, I have to figure out a way to, you know, get through that wall. And the thing that I do is that every business or every, every specialty profession has an organization, right? So it's called International Entertainment Buyers Association, IEBA. What this organization are the buyers. So this is the top of the food chain, the horse's mouth. Mm-hmm. These are the people that say, I want to buy you for my show or my tour or my venue or my stadium or for Live Nation, right? So the hierarchy is the buyer, right? And then the buyer, then you have the venues, then you have the booking agents. The booking agents are Live Nation. And then you have several tiers of booking agents that book and will and deal to get you on tours or whatnot. But when I went there, you know, I didn't know, I'm just thinking concerts. I didn't know that it's tribute shows, tribute bands. I didn't know that it was ice capades. I didn't know that it was rodeos. I didn't know state fairs. I didn't know it was overseas. I didn't know a lot of things that we were perfect for because we're a clean rap group that we could get in and do shows for. And I went to their convention. It was like 5,000 people. Me and Chubby Checker was the only black folks in there, right? And yeah. And I had a big old whoop, there it is, on my t-shirt. I was branding myself, and I just went around shaking hands, passing out business cards, and said, my name is DC Glen. You might have heard the song Whoop, There It Is. And they're like, yeah. It's like, well, we're a clean rap group, and we're looking to do shows. So here's my card. If you're interested, call. Because a lot of the buyers want a little more diversity. Like, you need to have a couple rappers on your roster. but a lot of them don't like rap because rap insurance is too high. You just never know what you're going to get with a rap show, right? So me introducing myself as a clean rap group settled them, and then they were on board off the rip. And then boom, we start getting shows here, We were on a freestyle tour for 15 shows. I mean, it just snowballed, and then we've been touring ever since until the pandemic.
Gotcha.
So you just have to develop those relationships. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
absolutely.
So what my question is what keeps you relevant during this time? And of course the clean, of course your clean rap group, but right away your name is synonymous. As soon as I heard who that is, I knew exactly who you guys were. But what do you think is keeping you relevant with all the different audiences that you actually present for?
Right, it's a couple of things. Right now, well, for me, it's my hustle. Right,
Yeah.
I'm relentless. I'm. There are so many. If you think about an artist and you think about how many things an artist has to have go right to be successful, it's mind-boggling. And the difference between every artist is just who's got the better deal, who's got the better management. Does their management do this? Does their management do that? Is their publicist any good? All these little things, all these little cogs in the wheel have to work together. And I was like, I'm gonna just learn it all myself, right? So I embarked on the journey to learn it all myself. And like back in 2012, perfect example. Back in 2012, everybody thought that Barack Obama was in our video, right? And you ask, how do you stay relevant? Well, because Whoop There It Is such a big record. It's in the nostalgia. It went into this nostalgia phase around 2005 because I thought it was going to die, and then we just, whatever. But it keeps every year it pops back up in something different, right? In a commercial or in here or in there, because everybody starts calling like, I heard y'all on such and such, right? So the song is the engine, right? And we just riding. So they thought Barack Obama, was in our video. And I was DJing at the club, and they called the club trying to find. New York Times called the club trying to find me. And the lady was like, I need to talk to you. There's a big thing going on with Whoop. I was like, I'm at work. Yeah, call me call this number in the morning. She called me in the morning. She was like, I couldn't find you. Everybody's trying to find you because they think Barack Obama's in your video. And I was like, they couldn't find me because we didn't have a web presence, right? We didn't have, there were no profiles filled out. Our social media wasn't filled out, right? A lot of people don't like social media. I'm one of them, but it's relevant. So we better learn how to do it. And I vowed from that day, like 2011, 2012, that there will never not be able to find me, right? So while I'm at the clubs, I used to listen to a lot of self-help stuff. And being in the club, there's tons of club DJs, but how do you make yourself invaluable, right? How do you make yourself an asset, a commodity? And I would change the lights, learned how to do the sound system, did all the radio spots, did all the marketing, made the flyers, right? You do that for a club. And I made sure that the dance floor would switch from my DJing prowess to make sure that the club sold tons of alcohol. Now, none of this works unless you let people see your hustle, right? So I tell a lot of young cats, they're like, well, what do you do? And it's like, you got to make sure whoever you're targeting sees your hustle, because people appreciate hustle, right? They appreciate people who work. They appreciate people who do it. They appreciate people who don't bother them, but they don't know I'm bothering them because I'm in front of them and they're looking at me hustle. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of a stealth situation.
Right.
So 2012, after that, I said that'll never happen again. And I started learning search engine optimization and how to build websites. And it took me that long. At the beginning, you type in tag team, it's nothing but wrestling. You type in tag team today, it's nothing but tag team. And that's something that I learned that helps the group, helps everybody connect the group with the song, because the song has always been bigger than us, but that's fine, because I love living my life with nobody knowing me. I'm not a rah-rah dude. I don't need attention. I don't have to have everybody love me, right? And then it just started, everything started trickling in. So I learned how to do all this. It was painful. It was excruciating. But when you get on the other side, it's invigorating. And I now know things that I know nobody else knows. I couldn't even teach what I know if I wanted to. Because it takes a special person to sit through what I sat through and what I went through to learn how to do this. And, I'm glad I did it. And now I can get anything I want because I know how to market myself. That's the first example of staying relevant, right? Second example,
Right. Right.
you know, this kind of brings us up to today, the Geico commercial. If Geico couldn't find me, who knows? They might have just tried twice and then went to the next rapper. They might have, who knows? They might have had 3 rappers that they were like, okay, we want these groups, we want to do this, right? But they called my number that's on the website. I got a direct link. And then I didn't answer the phone, but they kept trying. They went to my IMDb because I'm an actor. And you fill out those profiles correctly. They called my agent. My agent called me and was like, DC, you booked a Geico commercial. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't even audition for a Geico commercial. Because I'm thinking it's about acting. I'm thinking it's about the voiceover, right? I'm like,
Right.
Geico, wait a minute. And then I was like, wait a minute. Went and looked at my phone. The phone call was right there. Geico had called. And I could have took it from there. But I let my agent, who'd been busting their butt for me for 3 years, I was like, y'all make the deal. I'm going to let y'all eat off this too. And that proved to be the greatest thing that I could have ever done. But because of what happened in 2012, I vowed that anybody who's looking for me will be able to find me, right? So that's how we got the Geico commercials. That's another way to stay relevant. And I was looking for a publicist. At the beginning, I was like, I'm gonna need a publicist. I want to do this because I want to blow up my acting. I want to book, because we're not doing anything during the pandemic. Usually we be, you have a Geico commercial, you're on tour. And there's no tour.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I was like, I'll be damned if I'm going to lose out on this opportunity. I got all these lemons. I'm about to start me a lemonade company, right? And I was trying to find a publicist.
Let's go.
Not a lemonade stand, a lemonade company. I'm talking about distribution. I'm talking about DC's lemonade on every shelf out there. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. So
there you go.
I'm like, I need a publicist, blow it up. And I had meetings, my agents had meetings with several firms, and they were like, well, we don't know how to really approach this because it's a pandemic. It'd be different if there was movie premieres and stuff like that. I was like, all right, that's cool. Thank you. Right. But I went back to my go-to. If somebody's not willing to help you, or if you're interested in something, go join an organization. And I went and joined the Public Relations Society of America, right? 2 days in, I jump on a Zoom call with the CEO of this PR firm. They do these calls, right, where you pay $20 to listen in and pick their brain. And I knew all the stuff they were talking about, but I was like, let me start something, right? So I just raised my hand. I said, hey, are press releases relevant these days? And moderator was like, a press release is relevant? And she was like, well, what's it for? I was like, well, kind of featured in a nationwide Geico commercial called Scoop, There It Is. And I'm looking at the chat. It's like, wait a minute. Is that the... I love that commercial. My kids love that commercial. My little 4-year-old's running around. The chat blew up. I almost broke the chat because that's when it was super hot, right? That was like in January. And they all just was ecstatic that I was on the call. And the moderator was like, we'd like to welcome DC. He's brand new. But we're going to talk about that Geico commercial afterward, right? But she asked the lady, and the lady was like, hell yeah, right? What you have, especially now, because everybody's looking for news. Everybody wants good news, and it's content, right? So everybody's like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, I took over the chat. I took over the Zoom, and they all gave me the game. You want to go here for this. You want to go there for all the publicists. You want to go here for all the journalists. You want to go here for all the radio shows. You want your pitches to do this. You want this to do that. You want this, and that. Gave me the game in 10 minutes, and I was gone. That quick.
Wow. Wow.
That would have took me years in the past to try to figure out. But they gave it to me in 10 minutes. And it was up to me to go sow those seeds. So I had already had the press release done. Press release was done in the beginning of December. But the press release was about tag team, but it was about me and my acting and my voiceover. You got to throw yourself out there. I mean, you got to throw yourself out there in a way where you're almost manifesting what you want, you know, because my agents were like, DC, we had a big meeting. They're like, DC, what do you want? Are you happy with what we're doing? I'm like, yeah, y'all busting, we doing the thing, right? And they was like, no, what do you want, DC? And I was like, look, man, I'm humble, I'm grateful, and I'm thankful. I appreciate you guys. They're like, DC, what is your bucket list? And I was like, oh, all right, bucket list. That's a different question. It's a totally different question. And I was like, I want to be in The Mandalorian. I want to be in Star Wars. There's just a lot of things started flowing. I told him, I said, I don't care about being a star. I want small parts in big movies. If I can have 5 lines and be in a scene with a rock, I don't care about being in the rest of the movie. I don't have to be the star. All I want is little chunks. I want to build a body of work. Yeah, little nuggets to build a body of work. And then, because I've earned everything I've had, right? Like I started acting in the fall of 2018. And the fall of 2017. 2 months in, I booked my first commercial. You know, it's local. And I started booking local commercials for voiceover, booking local commercials for just everything. And it was just crazy how I got to be an actor. I was a voice artist and I was training, and one of my coaches, Eileen Kimball, was like, go to the People Store in Atlanta, Georgia. They need African-American voices. So I went, they heard my demo. They were like, we got you. And I had a meeting in there one day, just like a couple months afterward, and the owner came in and she was like, nice to meet you. I love your face. Put him on camera. I was like, what? And they were like, what? Because that never happens. And I started getting auditions, like what I have to do. Well, you have to take headshots. You have to take pictures and all, you have to take acting lessons. I was like, cool. And after the first couple of acting lessons, I was all in. And I was like, I was going to class every day. Somebody's class different. I went hard. And fast forward, to the press release, it's like the fruit of all this, I got to let the world know what I do, right? Because tag team is tag team. Right. Takes care of itself, but now I dropped that press release 3 days before the Super Bowl, and I dropped that press release to over 1,000 entities and got back 300 took the press release, put it in their magazine or their article or their newscast and ran with it. Now that's good for PR, but it's also good for SEO. Now I got 300 links back to the tag team site. Now the emails, I get 30 emails a day, right? From my mother has cancer to we love you to this to that, whatever. My baby loves you, the whole 9. And I answer every single one of them, right? Because that's a blessing. If somebody loves you that much, you gotta reciprocate. You can never get that big to where you're not just talking to the people. And I've always, for me being a DJ, I used to watch how stars would come in and treat people. And and I knew you rise and you fall. And when you fall, who's going to be there for you if you treat them like a jerk? You know what I'm saying? If you were a jerk to them, you treat them like crap. So for me, it's always been humility. It's always been go do the work, get in, get out, keep it moving. And everybody's still, my number been the same for years and everybody still can get in contact with me. So why I say all this, when you say, how do you stay relevant?
Yes.
There's another side of the hustle. See, everybody's thinking, well, man, don't you got to do social media and don't you got to do this? I was like, look, cats ask me all the time, DC, put me on. What do I got to do to be in the game? What do I got to do to have a hit record? What do I got to do to do this and do that? And I'd be like, you really want some help? They'd be like, yeah, man, put me on. It's like, all right, I got some books for you. and I got a file for you if you don't read or can't read, right? So I got a video for you. so I said, give me your email. I send them a link, and I can tell you 95% of people don't even call me back. And that one link, I'm giving you the game and the key to success. And they don't even, they're like, this is so different. I'm not doing this. I got to go to the clubs and get crunk in the clubs and make sure I'm spending money on people. And I'm like, that's irrelevant. And what I give people is a book on music publishing or video on music publishing. And if you walk into the music game knowing music publishing, no one can ever take advantage of you. And everybody gets taken advantage of. All these young kids, everybody's been through it. From Jay-Z all the way to the bottom. Everybody goes through it in some shape, some shape or another. They go through it, and it's how you come up out of it that makes you who you are. And we went through a 20-year lawsuit with 2 record companies fighting over us, and we're in the middle. Now I can fight 1 record company, but I don't got the resources to fight 2, right? And we just stepped back and just waited and got it all resolved. And then the losing record company was kind of trying to, mess with us a little bit. And then we had to fight, and we fought, and we won the war. But we came back home, missing a leg, eye gouged out. You know what I'm saying? You're still walking and you're still breathing, but you kind of messed up. You kind of traumatized. And that, I went through that, but I've always been positive, and I've always knew that there was going to be another path, right? And all these things that I learned, I'm a licensed commodities broker. I know finance. I know all these things. And just one of those things wasn't going to blow me up, but all of those things together, coming back around to this Geico commercial, prepared me to just explode into realms that I have never thought I would ever go to and never thought were even imaginable. And that's because of my creativity and because of my hustle. And that is what it's all about.
This feels like a master's class, honestly. And I'm taking notes from this myself. This is awesome. You are very easy to interview.
But didn't I tell you? Did I tell you? I was like, see, every time I do an interview, every time I said, you're only going to ask 2 questions, right? And because I know what you guys want to hear, and there's more to it.
Right.
Like you could ask me, what was the beginning of Whoop There It Is, and what was this and what, but this much more interesting, because all of that old stuff. All that old stuff ties into the new. That ties into the perseverance and the tenacity and the not giving up and never quitting and having faith in God and having faith in everything that you are and that you are blessed.
Right.
But, God ain't just going to bless you. Like, you got to work for it. And I don't mind. Hey, let me tell you something. I've been working since I was 5 years old. And I'm forever grateful to my mother and my father, because my mother had me stemming collard greens and shucking peas. 5 years old, cleaning chitlins at 7, and I knew how to cook by the time I was 7.5. My grandmother taught me how to make my first pie, lemon meringue pie, and she taught me how to make a chest pie. That's how I became a big dude, because I was a little skinny kid. 2nd grade, 3rd grade, I was fat. I came back to school fat because I was cooking pies all summer, right? Perfecting my pie recipe. So all those little things, all those experiences in my past life, or just in my life in general, have relevance to today. They all help me in acting, right? Because now I can take any emotion and not deal with it at the time, but put it in my pocket, right? If I'm mad, every negative emotion, anger, envy, sadness, despair, all those things, trauma, all those things, you just stop, be like, I'm not going to deal with this now, put it in your pocket.
Right.
Because there will be a chance for you to use it, right? People that hate on me, it just makes me stronger. And that's why I'm strong, because there's a lot of people that have hated on me, but that's my fuel. That's like I'm on empty, but there's a can of gas on the side of the road. Oh, okay, cool, right? That's when you use it, right? Those things, if I'm acting and I got a script where I got to be emotional, that's when I use it. If I got to be happy, that's when I use it. those scenarios that I can go back to when I was a child. Perfect example. The Geico commercial. I wanted the essence of the Geico commercial goes back to when my father was like, I want some ice cream. And he had a old school ice cream churn. And we used to sit there, me and my brother, 5 minutes at a time, 20 minutes. Took about 20 minutes to make the ice cream. He put the eggs, the sugar, the vanilla, and then whatever flavor and that other flavor you put it in there, put the ice on around the side, put the salt, that rock salt around the side, just be churning it. 20 minutes later, me and my brother's the happiest kids on the block because we got ice cream. Then here come all the other kids, and we all dipping out this big old tube, the cylinder full of ice cream that my father made for me, right? And that was the essence of the Geico commercial for children. I wanted children to see that and say, Mama, I want a party like that, right? And because it brings so much happiness to the kids, it brings happiness to the parents. Because it brings happiness to the parents, it brings happiness to the kids. And because it brings happiness to all, it brings happiness to all, right? All over the world. Like, it's been nothing but positive. And that goes back to preparing for this commercial. The Spin and Scoop, that was one, I started preparing. Everybody asked me, weren't you excited? Aren't you excited that you got a Geico commercial? I was excited the first 2 days of September when they called. After that, it was time to go to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was time. I knew what I had. Salt and Pepper did theirs in 2014, and they've been touring ever since. Big tours. Their last tour was opening up for New Kids on the Block. That'd be us right now, right? But can't cry over spilled milk or woulda, coulda, shoulda. I said, what can I do? What can I do? How can I flip this? And if the pandemic hadn't happened, I shot my first 2 movies in the pandemic. Shot a movie in April, shot a movie in August. Done tons of voiceover during the pandemic. Did a Tyler Perry episode of House of Pain. About to audition for another House of Pain episode. Booked my first television series. And I'm on my way because I put in the work, right?
Yes.
I put in the work. I went to class, and now I'm still training, but I figured out another way to train. The key concept that I want to leave with everybody with is that you have to learn how to learn, right? You can read a book, right? But sometimes you don't want to read a book. So what you going to do? And you got to read that book. Well, I'm going to dump it in the AI software, and then I can keep doing what I'm doing, and the book's reading to me. And I'm picking up pieces, just like I would if I was reading, right? Or if this podcast, I could dump it into the AI. It'll give me a transcript. I could throw it to a writer. The writer will give me a big press release about what we just talked about. Learn how to learn. You know how long would it took me to do that, right? To transcribe, it take you forever to transcribe stuff, but there's soft technology helps you learn how to learn. And if you could put those pieces together, I could do 5 things at one time and be fully coherent and not be confused because I know what I'm trying to do, right? So, like sometimes, what they say, sometimes people are good learning auditory, listening. Sometimes people are good reading. I'm good talking. I learn more when I run my mouth because I'm figuring things out. The fact because we're talking, I'm figuring things out. There's ideas coming into my head. I can see you guys like, yeah. I have to kind of,
absolutely.
Wait a minute. This is going to do. Okay. Yeah. Like, I see light bulbs all over. I see light bulbs all over that green. Well, I'm sorry. I see light bulbs over that beautiful background you got. All over that beautiful background you got. All over the mountains.
Thank you for liking my background. Thank you so much.
I said, we're getting there.
So, it's just I was raised correctly. I'm blessed, right? I had 2 beautiful, beautiful parents that made me work because they had to work, right? They were dirt poor, but they made me work. I had to clean windows. I had to shovel snow. I had to cut the grass, but I learned how to make money doing all those things. Because if your parents make you do something, that means that it needs to be done. You can go do it for somebody else and get this bread. Like, you're not even thinking, kids don't even think like that. I thought like that. So me and my brother get up. We would love when it snowed. We were the only family that had a snowblower in the whole neighborhood. So when it snowed, we got up and we just did everybody's snow walk. Didn't even charge them. And maybe a month later, hey boy, come here. Boom, here's $40. Appreciate you doing my snow this winter. We got $40 for candy. You see what I'm saying? Like, but they always paid us. But you give what you want first, right? You give what you want first. You know, I stay pressing. I'm on offense, right? Because it can't be quid pro quo. It can't be, well, I'm doing this. If it don't work, I ain't doing it no more. It's like, you got to just throw stuff out there and keep moving. You gotta throw stuff, just keep throwing stuff in the universe, throwing it out there. If it don't work, so what? Just keep throwing stuff out there. And then you look back in your wake, and it's gained upon you.
Yeah.
You know, I've been laying seeds all over this planet. And when I started doing it, you know, I laid a lot of seeds. And now I'm standing in a forest, right? Because everything has grown. And because I didn't think about it, it grew without me knowing it was growing. It came back
just
to
let
me.
it happen.
It came back to you. It all comes back to you, right? So if I do a press release, I'm throwing out the, hey, John Favreau and Dave Leone, I want to be in Star Wars somehow, somewhere or other. I'm calling you out. Somebody who loves tag team going to call them and be like, hey, dude, tag team's an actor. You might want to check him out. You never know how it's going to come back. But you just throw him out there. It might seem far-fetched and people are like, he's tripping. But be tripping to the bank, right? So now right now it's about strengthening weaknesses and filling holes in my overall existence, in my overall game. You know, I've always been kind of relying on other people for music production. That can be no more because I get more opportunities than anybody because I create them. So therefore, I better learn music theory. I better get to technologically advanced with all this music gear so I can make songs and get this money. And I'm not trying to be an artist, but I can make a jingle for an ad agency who I'm with right now. I'm with the biggest ad agency in the world, the Martin Agency. They're the ones that make the Geico commercials. And most people wouldn't think about it. If you get an artist that gets a job, usually there's buffers. You got the manager, or you got the boy who's their assistant, or their assistant going to the manager, going to the publicist, going to the lawyers, going to the Martin Agency. For me, it was me and the Martin Agency. And I've met everybody. I have a relationship with the CEO, one of the biggest ad agencies in the world, and they are in return about to introduce me to all their brands. I'm trying to be Jake from State Farm. Really.
Jake from State Farm.
There you go.
Hey, I'm trying to be Flo, right? Because you got to put yourself out there. Right. And that's what this is all about. So now I'm really starting to put myself out there in as far as tons of podcasts, tons of interviews, tons of radio shows, tons of like we just did Tamron Hall. I got Ellen lined up. I got Good Morning America lined up. I got Kelly Clarkson lined up. I got Kelly and Ryan hooked up. Those are juggernauts that press-wise, if I'm on them, I can do a press release and I can impose my will on the industry, letting them know what I want, letting them know what my bucket list is. And somebody might give me a shot. And that's what it's about. And all this came because of my hustle. It's that simple. It all, nobody gave me anything. I hustled this up. Nobody was going to go and join a PR organization. Huh? What's that? Right. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm going to get on social media and I'm going to show my butt and we're going to get it. Right. But then I'm cold with social media because I understand what social media is. See, social media for a lot of people is attention. Right. Right. And validation. And that's toxic. Yeah. Social media for me is engagement. Right? Whenever I post something, it's relevant and people want to engage in that content. They want to know about it.
Absolutely.
I'd rather have 10,000 people who are engaging with me than 200,000 people just because, right? For no reason. But
Right.
if you look at some of those profiles, people who got 200, 300,000 every time they do a post, I get just as much engagement as they do, right? And to take it even up another notch, right? So a friend of mine was like, man, you need to get the data from, he's a corporate, the corporate black dude, right? You know the kind, right?
With the suit and everything, yeah.
The corporate black guy
That guy.
yeah, who throws all the big words out at the party, right? So my boy is like that, right? But he knows his stuff. And he was like, you gotta get the data from Geico. It's like, man, I ain't about to ask Geico for no data. You're gonna laugh me out the room, right? And I might react defensively in a visceral way, but I'm listening. I said, all right, let me figure this out. If I had to get the data, what would I do? Right? Well, who collects data for television commercials, right? So I'm looking at all the trades in the industry. Like everybody's like, you should be on this and you should be on that and you should be on this hip hop show. I was like, that's cool, but I want to be on the trades because the trade magazines are where all the CEOs of that industry are looking. Same concept as the organizations. The trade magazine, Hollywood Reporter, all those like that, Ad Week, Brand Week, all those periodicals, professionals read those every issue and they're looking to see something different. And, I was like, wait a minute. So television, Nielsen, iSpot TV are the two biggest. So I'm like, let me fake it till I make it. So I call them and I'm like, look, I'm trying to do this and this and that and that. I'm looking for the data and I'm trying to figure out my value proposition and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, wow, never seen an artist do that. You know what? We want to interview you. I was like, cool. And then the girl was like, iSpot TV. She said, we're going to interview you. I've already looked up the data. She said, you are the number one Geico commercial of any artist of all time. I was like,
there.
Amen.
what? And then we did a Zoom and she said, I'm going to make it to where when people, you don't even have to put together a program or a presentation. I'm going to do it for you. And all you got to do is give them a link. And she put this video together of, Geico commercial, this many views, this many impressions, this much engagement, conversions, likability index, all the things that they gauge what makes a hot commercial hot, which they give to the companies so the companies can know that they're getting value when they spend their money on commercials.
Absolutely.
Little old me got this information and now I can wield it like a sword when I want to go get my money. Because people going to be like, you only got one song, blah, blah, blah. Bow. That's why you're going to pay me. Because these are the numbers and numbers don't lie. Like, that's how I'm thinking. Then after that, I'm in a meeting with Nielsen. Nielsen is the biggest data gathering entity for television in the world.
Wow.
And we just chopping it up. And they hit me with the ticket. I was like, I can't do that. But I appreciate talking to y'all because they already gave me the game. I already know what I want. I already know, you know what I'm saying? Just to have a conversation with them for an hour. I learned a lot, right? But they're like, no, we got a couple other companies that we feed to that can do it for a lot cheaper. We want to see this through. And I was like, cool. They introduced me to another company. That company was like, yo, we got you. I'm thinking that they put a report together. It's not like that's like, when you need a report done, this is the ticket. Hit us up. We'll make it immaculate for you. And you can present that report to the people who are skeptical about your game. And then they will know what your game is. That's all hustle. Wouldn't nobody think about to do that? Next one. Okay, I know this commercial's hot. So now I'm campaigning for every commercial award that exists. Not because I want to win a award for having a Geico commercial, but if I'm awarded, I don't care if I win, but if I get nominated, I use that as press
Donation.
release juice.
Mhm.
That's press release juice, which takes me to another level
Most
because
definitely.
I've imposed my will on people, right? I haven't just shoved it down their throat. I've just presented it to them in a narrative that is mine, that they can, it's not such a big bowl of food. It's tapas. It's little plates, right? They get
Right.
little bitty hors d'oeuvres as we go along, and then they get their meal, and they're like, you know what? Because he hustles so hard, we got to give it to him. And nobody else try to get their commercial to be the winner. Then if I win, now I don't got a Clio award for a commercial. Now I write my own ticket. That's like getting an Academy Award.
Absolutely.
All from hustle. All from
From a hustle.
laying those seeds, meeting people strategically, being nice, being cordial. It comes from everybody I've done a interview with. I follow them on social media, give shout outs to them. Now, I'm on everybody's clubhouse. Like everything that's new, I'm a part of. And now nobody's saying no to me. I ain't done nothing, right? I feel like I'm the same dude, right? But I understand what it is, but I'm not even close to being finished. I've just begun, right? And that is how, that's how you come up, right? What are you going to bring? Some people going to bring a wine. Some people going to bring some cheese and crackers. Some people going to bring whatever. Some people are not bring nothing. I tell you what I'm going to bring. Shoot, I'm bringing the ice sculpture. I'm going to bring DJ equipment, and I'm going to be the DJ. I'm going to cook. I'm going to help you clean the kitchen. I'm going to pour drinks. I'm going to sing at the party. We're going to set up a karaoke machine. I'm going to have a little jungle gym for the kids to do. And you're going to remember that DC was at your party. It's that simple. That's life.
Yeah.
That's how you make impressions on people. People got to remember that you were there.
That's it.
Right?
That brings it
You know what I'm
together.
saying? They really got to remember. People going to remember that DC was on y'all's radio show. Whoever listens to this is going to be like, I remember that DC show. That dude was spitting game, right? People got to remember you in every chance you get. You got to put on to make people remember you. And if they remember you, they appreciate that because it's all positive. I'm in a positive way, and my goal as a young man, I wanted to be in record books. I achieved that goal. So what else was there? It's just like, there's always something else. Now this whole thing has turned in after Tamron Hall. We did Tamron Hall, and she blew it. She blew us up so big. Like she did her homework. She's awesome. She was how people were looking at me, just in awe of her brilliance, right? Just in awe of her brilliance. And the fact that the narrative that she chose for us blew us up. And the narrative was redemption. And you're never too old to do anything. And I got so many emails after that. Like, man, man, y'all still relevant after all these years, man. That is just so amazing, right? That's what it's all about. You got to be, how do they remember you? And because I laid all those breadcrumbs and made sure people had, that goes back to the 2012, we didn't have the website. I had to go back. I had to make sure that Wikipedia pages were proper. I had to make people were getting the proper information. So if they wrote a story about me, it was my narrative. It was the truth.
Right? Not theirs. Yeah.
Not theirs. Not some stuff they heard from somebody else or heard from an article years ago or outdated information. So I had to, another thing I did, I went back and I started reaching out to all the old journalists who did articles on us. I was like, hey man, it's time to do a follow-up. And now everybody's doing follow-ups, and now everybody gets to see exactly what I'm doing at the exact time right now. And everything people write about us now is what I want it to be, because I've changed everything on the internet to be people be able to have the right information to make us look good.
Exactly.
That requires a lot of work. It really requires a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails. It requires communication. It requires, rubbing people's back, holding people's hand, being nice, talking to people that you might have been enemies with. It requires a lot.
But nice. That's right.
It worked out, but I'm tired. I gotta go. I had a great time. You see my eyes getting sleepy. I'm thirsty.
We
We
did
enjoyed
too.
you, man. This has been awesome. Awesome.
So
awesome.
we can't wait for you to come make your visit here. You
Hey.
have my contact information. Want to
Yes,
thank you
ma'am.
again for being on the show. Love
Mhm.
you, and we are still growing. We're still growing. Next time,
That's right. I'm in awe.
next time,
Hey.
my green screen. We're gonna be there. I promise.
Next time, your mansion in the back, your swimming pool back there.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
It's gonna be right there.
hey,
Now, when you come visit,
exactly,
don't think you're gonna get in the swimming pool. You're gonna be in oceanfront.
Hey, I appreciate y'all. Salute, and y'all have a wonderful day. All right.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. Yeah. Y'all good?
Yes.
All right, cool.
We
I'm out of
good.
here.